What's up guys, Mr. Scanlon here, and in this video I'm going to be going over that Python Programming 10 chapter, except I'm not going to be going over all the chapter examples like I normally do in all the videos, and I'm actually not going to be talking about modules in this video. I'm just going to be talking about file I/O, and more specifically, not like a minor example that I have inside the chapter, but remember on the first day of school when I was telling you guys about how I made a program pretty quickly the night that I got the class rosters and I wanted to count things up. I'm gonna be recreating that for you guys here in this tutorial, so you guys can see how I did that and just kind of see how the process is for kind of a slightly longer program rather than just having a couple one-liners to pull some things out of another text. Um, so again, I got this roster from Mr. Goolsby, a couple weeks ago or whatever, and basically all I did was I just copied out all the names from each one of these classes, and then threw it in a text file, which I have right here. This text file is also it's inside my project. All I had to do to make it was just go to New File, and then I just said blah.txt txt. So it's just a file that holds letters, basically letters and numbers. Then I also got this tutorial.py file also in my project. So as you can see, this file's pretty scrambled here for the most part. It's got name, grade ID. I don't know what the MC is. I think that's student ID maybe or something, or I'm not sure exactly. But birth date, studium, all kinds of stuff, and it's just basically just tons of scrambled info. And I wanted to sort it out and then make sense of it, and then do what I needed to do with the data. So the first thing I did was I just call this graph, or well, you can call it anything. I'm just going to call it I'll call it graph data because that's I think what I did with it originally, which is odd because I didn't really graph it. But and then I'm just going to open this, just a standard file input here. So it's oops, shoot. So blah.txt because I'm going for that file right there. And then obviously after that you got to put in the R because you're going to read this file here, and then you got to put read on at the end like this. All right, so then what I did was I just made some blank arrays up at the top here, some global variables, just because I knew I was going to need to capture these. So full IDs and doubles, trying to find out how many doubles there were. Singles, and then just a count variable, which you guys will see why I needed that later on here. And then basically what I did was I created this lines variable here, and it's just going through the graph data. So it's opening up this entire thing. It's going through this graph data here, and it's going line by line, basically, or letter by letter, and it's splitting all of these, basically, because this is just basically one long string right now that's inside of this graph data variable, and this split is just splitting every single word in here by the space. So for instance, see how there's a space between the parenthesis and Sierra here for Matt Sierra's name. It's just splitting everything sorry, everything off. So everything's getting split up, and then it's all going to become this is making lines, this lines variable, into a massive array stored with everything that's split by a space. Okay. So the next thing I did was I just said for line and lines. So I'm going to iterate through these lines, and then I just said if the line, and then I use this thing starts with and 2017, and then I said or line starts with this 2018, and then if it's one of those two things happens, then I just want to append to the full ID line. So let me explain this because obviously I just wrote a bunch of stuff here. So obviously so we got this variable lines, and I'm iterating through all of it. Okay, I'm just going through every single variable in this, every single word inside this entire text file. I'm going through it right now. And for every single line, if it starts with 2017 or 2018, let me show you what I mean for that. So like take Matt Sierra for example here. His user ID is 2017 015, like that. It's going through these. It's like, okay, this is in 2017. None of these are 2017. Finally gets to this variable right here, or this part in the list right here, and it's like, okay, this starts with 2017. The reason why I said 17 or 18 is because seniors, juniors, I knew I had seniors and juniors in my classes, so I just wanted to pick out those guys. So just pick out those like user IDs. I mean. So it's got Matt Sierra's ID and then Justice's ID. Let's see who's got a 2018 in here. Let's see if I can just find this real quick. So like obviously you guys can see like some of your names down here. Those are all the juniors in the classes, obviously. So it's just going through, basically all this is doing is it's going through every single one of those things in the giant list there, and it's picking out the ones that are IDs, the ones that start with 2017 or 2018. And then it's just appending those IDs to this thing called full IDs right here, this array called full IDs. So then what I can do is I can just basically scrap the rest of it. Like I don't need any of it. So I just discount the lines variable from there, and now I can start using this full IDs thing. So the next thing I do is I say for IDs in full IDs, iterating through the list that we just appended all this stuff to. And then in here I'm just saying for, and I get kind of stupid with my variables sometimes, especially if I'm just like going through it really fast. So like to simplify double, I just said for dose in full IDs, like that. If dose, let's write it like this. If IDs is equal to dose, I can't type right now. If IDs is equal to dose, then just make this count number, this one that we had up here, the 0, equal count plus 1. And honestly, we didn't have to. I take it back. Actually, we did have to set that as a global variable. We could have done it a different way, I suppose. But and then if, I'll explain this in a second. If count is equal to 2, then what we want to do here is just append the ID to doubles. So like that particular ID, we're appending it to doubles, and then we're going to set this count back to 0 here, so that way we can run through on another ID. And like I said, I'll re-explain that in a second there. And then if it's not, if the count's not 2, in other words, if like we didn't find their ID twice, then obviously the person's only in my classes one time and not like taking me twice or something like that. Just append them to this singles array I have up there, like this, and we're just appending that ID, the one that we're running through, and then setting that count back to 0. Now I could have, keep it, not keep it simple stupid, but don't repeat yourself, so dry. I could have just set these two like outside of the if and else statement, but at the time I didn't, and I really don't care now. So then down here you can do a couple things like, if I wanted to get all of the IDs of everyone who is taking me twice, I could just say print doubles, and then when I run this thing, it didn't work for some reason. Why it didn't work? I don't know why it didn't work. Hold on. If print full IDs real quick. Okay, so it's definitely printing this. You guys are just going to have to bear with me right now. Hold on. Why didn't it accumulate anything here? Assignments. If, oh. Yeah, I see why now. So I didn't mean to put that there. That's just me not looking at my lines properly here. So when I rerun this, sorry about that. When I rerun this, basically I had those in the wrong for loop line there. It shouldn't be in this for loop, it should be in this for loop. I'll talk about why that is in a second, but then now I can say like print. So like if I wanted to know like how many students I have total or something like that, I could just print the length of full IDs. And this is going to be like 173, I believe. Yeah. So I have like 173 slots or something like that. How many guys am I taking, one time in all my classes? Well, that number is going to be 89. I'm taking 89 students just one time. And then what about how many students am I take? How many students are taking my classes twice, or something like that? I could just go and run this like this, and that comes out to be 84. It's actually half that, because if you look at some of these numbers up here, I think I can do a search right in here, right? So I'll take this first one right here, which is actually Matt Sierra's number, if I recall. So this 27015 one. If I scroll right here, I'm eventually going to see his again. See, there it is. The reason why is because when I went through this algorithm the first time, when I appended these the first time, basically what was happening was I was appending it if the count was like 2, it was getting appended twice in there. So it's actually like half of this. So basically, I didn't really make a whole lot of sense there. Basically, 42 students are taking me twice, and the reason, the way I got that was just cutting this in half right here, because all of those IDs inside of the doubles array are being counted twice. So like every single one of these in here are showing up twice. And that's pretty much it. That's all I had to do to run this code and get it up and running. So hopefully that made sense for you guys. If it didn't, that's okay. It's just one of those things that you just kind of practice with. Again, I put together this application really quickly the night when I got the roster. So there's definitely ways to perfect it. And then, yeah. All right, so hopefully you guys understand modules and file I/O after reading that chapter, and I'll see you in another video.